Well, I'm back to 120%, and it's been a beautiful mess. I've been learning all sorts of new strategies that have just totally changed the run for me. So I wanted to take this video and review some of the new alternate strats, as well as just kind of talk about how I've been feeling coming back to this category after 6 months of any percent grinding. But before we get into any of that, we gotta remove this light above me. Thank God that light was fucking annoying me. Anyways, Town Square has seen a major reroute recently, where now we do the entire level backwards, finishing with this epic trek from the top of the level all the way down to the bottom through all these flame charges and slide-offs. It's a really cool ending, but offers a lot more spots for me to fuck up. And the same is true of the next level, Toasty, where you can do a trick on every single dog that allows you to flame it only once instead of twice. This obviously is faster, but at the cost of having to time your jump flame with the dog, sort of sensing its movement before it occurs. It's quite a more difficult AI type level to deal with now, the more of those tricks I do. And I'm trying my best, but I don't know if I'm gonna quite get as many as Smokey Bro does in his world record. And speaking of world records, just to clarify, I still have the world record in 120%. You know, a lot of you guys saw my update video recently about, I'm done going for world record, I hate it. But that's for any percent. In 120%, I still have a 119, which is currently not really being challenged by anyone yet. And that includes me. I'm still very much in the learning process, the transition out of the any percent grind. You know, just a lot of free practice, as well as doing a couple of runs. I actually did my first run in 6 months yesterday, and here's just a little snippet of how it went. Ooh, look red. No! You know, total dumpster fire, no reset, but it's fun, it's comfy, and they don't have to be good paces because it's just such a chill category. You're just locked in for the whole ride, you try to do your best, and you know, categories like any percent Vortex, they're just, any runner will tell you they're a lot more reset heavy. No matter what skill level you're at, it's harder to no reset those categories. But in a category like 120%, it feels like you gotta just lock in for the whole hour and a half or whatever it is, and it's been a really fun exploration, not worrying about the pace or anything like that. But yeah, enough of the soapbox. Let's keep talking about some new strats here, like in Ice Cavern. There's this cool charge glide you can do on the first 2 poles of the level. You collect the first one normally, but the second one you actually charge for just a moment on the other side so that the gem falls down into the void, which makes it auto-collect. This saves a few frames. And as an aside, all of the time save difference from these strats is pretty negligible. We're talking about the difference of less than a second, often half a second at best with a lot of this stuff. But yeah, if you're ever wondering how much time does that save, the answer is almost nothing. It's pretty much all swag strats, which, you know what? Can a white boy get a little bit of motion? I'm gonna bring those fajitas out sizzling. Look at all these boosted jumps we're doing now. We're doing them out of a skitter, we're doing them against the wall, in the home world, even back there in Ice Cavern you're doing one just to avoid turning around in the inner cavern. It's just so sick the level of movement that's getting incorporated into the run at this point. Like in the Beastmaker's homeworld, there's this little hut section with the pig that always scares you half to death. Well, now we make him run to us while we're collecting gems, and we collect the fan chests after Wild Flight, post-dragon, making sure to use the triangle button as we flame the chests, so that way Spyro doesn't charge into one of them over the other because they're off-screen. Yes, that's a real mechanic in this game. You know, I should just do a whole video about obscure Spyro mechanics that aren't helpful in any way whatsoever, but are just interesting. Let me know if you want to see that down below, and hey, maybe while you're down there, you know, hit the sub button, please? Alright, enough being cringe, let's get back to the game. Hey, do you want to know a strat that's so hard that I can't even do it yet? Well, one of these days, I'm gonna get the extended supercharge in Wizard Peak that goes all the way on the shelf while collecting these 3 enemies at the same time. It's one of the hardest zigzags and weird speed puzzles to figure out because you can't go as fast as possible. You need to enter the ramp a certain way, and just getting everything while still making it to the island and continuing from there saves you a ton of recovery movement. So it would be nice to hit that one day, but it's gonna need some more practice. Shoutouts to Super Dave too, who does his own version of this supercharge in his own runs. And while I'm talking about it, shoutouts to Tainu and Spora, whose runs have really inspired me and I've used as reference materials while relearning this category. And of course, shout out Days Bag of Bones, who not only found Nestor Skip, but also found this supercharge in Treetops that I'm going to be doing. No one else goes for this, but it's so cool to be able to hit all of these enemies and chests in one go. Look, if we're going to talk about 120% strats, we gotta talk about everybody's favorite level, Lofty Castle. And there's still a slight improvement I could be making to my already optimized route here, which is an extra turnaround inside of the inner castle while I'm supercharging before going for the big jump at the end. This is called the JX strat, and he's currently the only person to do it in runs so far. It's really easy to bonk it, so am I gonna be willing to throw a good pace to that turnaround? We'll see. There's also this alternate route in Jock that allows me to flop onto the platform here, which this skips having to flame the Jester and wait for the platform to rise after he finishes on me. Sort of like the turtles in Dark Passage. There's this one room near the end where if you flame before the turtles hit you, they're more likely to see you and fucking splatter you in the face. But if you flame before hitting them, then you do technically hit the guys behind them more quickly. So I'm trying to incorporate some of that slightly more optimized flame charge movement, especially in that room. I've also optimized some of the movement at the end of Nork Cove, opting not to bonk any of the guys after the dragon and instead collect some gems early towards the keyless section before finishing the level. I do want to point out that I'm the only person that goes for single shot credit skip. Pretty much everybody does a double shot setup, but Spyroner found that you can take damage while approaching the setup spot for Nasty's final shot. So we're going to keep doing that. Hopefully other people start doing it more. Shoutouts to you if you do that. You're a ballsy man to do that at the end of the run and put it all on the line like that. There is one more strategy that I don't do in Nasty's loot that involves doing a flop to break the height cap in order to glide up to this grassy area, clean up everything there first, and then finish the level, which is technically the optimal routing, but the game really does not want you to fly above that height cap, so it will do everything in its power to cuck your glide and make you fall out of the air, and it's just a really annoying strat, so shoutouts to Super Dave as well for pioneering that one. Well, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. There are some smaller things in Terrace Village as well as Dry Canyon that I've sort of switched around to sort of modernize the route, but it's all stuff that people were already doing well before me. I'm kind of late to the party with a lot of these strats, but hey, better late than never, and it feels so good to be just kind of swagging out and playing the good old category that got me started all those years ago. So if you're hyped for the 120% grind, let me know down below. I'm going to keep streaming this and grinding it, and hopefully we get somewhere in it. And if not, that's all right too. I'll still be working on videos on the side as well, so expect for me to take the occasional day off or two to put out cute little videos about the game like this. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me for the grind, and I will catch you guys in the next 120% run. Peace.